So this is Jemmy and a 5-year-old Yorkie available for adoption now. Call your city's animal welfare department or stop by, and lots of other wonderful animals just like this up for adoption at the city. So I'm going to hand her back. Yay! All right, well, I want to thank everyone for coming. We wanted to take some time out today to really talk about our animal welfare department as a whole and some of the changes that we've been through, and I think in many ways celebrate a lot of the progress that we've made. And so I'm going to start off with a little bit about some perspective from my end, and then we're going to hear from our Director of Animal Welfare, Danny Nevarez, and then also our Chief RICCI, as I heard him referred to earlier. So, and then we'll do some questions after if anyone wants. You can grab relevant folks here. We have lots of folks, not only from animal sort of control, but also our veterinarians and different types of staff back here behind me. So, let me, I think, just begin by saying, I knew when I took this job, actually, frankly, that there were a lot of challenges in the animal welfare department. It was one of the areas that I was really, really worried about, actually, because I knew we had a lot to overcome, a lot to deal with. And as I took the job, I learned more, and I learned about our 40% vacancy rate that we had at the staff level. I learned that our response times were an hour or greater. And of course, something I had heard about was a 2-year backlog of public calls for service. Now, the wonderful thing that we want to celebrate today is that due to everyone standing behind me, we no longer have hardly any of those issues anymore. Sure, there's more we can do, but Animal Welfare Department has gone a complete 180 in terms of being one of our most deeply challenged departments to all of a sudden, a year and a half later, really becoming one of our shining star departments in the city of Albuquerque. And I think in many ways restoring the pride and the outcomes and the success that this department was used to for decades. It has always mostly was a shining star for our city, even when I was a kid growing up here. Somewhere along the way, we had some challenges. We're here today to talk about how we've overcome many of those challenges. So I do want to compliment, because I don't know all the details, but I do know Director Danny Nevarez, and I do know Adam RICCI as our Chief of Field Operations. They have really turned this department around along with everyone else behind me, and I'm just so grateful for their leadership and also for all the staff and the service officers who have helped in that process. So I do want to just take a moment. I want to thank all of you for believing in the department, for sticking with us, and also for working with your new leadership team. Thank you. For a second, I was like, laser cats. So Director Nevarez and Mr. RICCI got to work and hosted 3 job fairs to boost recruitment, which has solved a lot of our problems with respect to filling animal control vacancies. Of course, want to mention that our HR department and our legal team did sign off on a 2-year J-Series collective bargaining agreement, which basically fixed a lot of salary and compensation issues that were also hindering hiring folks. In the last year, Animal Welfare has also has eliminated our officer shortage. We are now 100% full, and you can see it in the results of the 2,300 call backlog that we had has been eliminated. And our response times are now, for priority 1, are just about 22 minutes. That is awesome. And so we've also restructured our division for efficiency and call response. Tremendous, tremendous accomplishments. Round of applause. One more. Now, of course, our field division of animal welfare is critical to keeping our animals safe, but also encouraging responsible pet ownership. And I was just on a ride-along with one of our corporals, and in fact, that was one of the issues that we were working on with a particular set of family members who had a puppy that was not being appropriately taken care of. That was one call that we took. The other one is a snake, which is in the back of the truck right now. And so we picked that one up in the Heights. So we are here, and they, of course, enforce our city ordinances pertaining to care, treatment, impounding, and handling and quarantining of wild animals and domestic animals, and also investigate reports of animal cruelty. They do spend a lot of time in court, even with our hearing officers, on that issue. I also want to mention that perhaps the rate that people want to know the most about, I'm proud to say we're right at our goal in terms of our save rate, over 90% for our save rate. That's right where we want to be. And our euthanasia rate is down 11%. So an excellent job for the medical team as well. So we want to hear a little bit from our director, Danny Nevarez, who's run several departments. I think you were originally in animal welfare early on.
20 years ago. Yep.
20 years ago, the triumphant return of Danny Nevarez. I want to let him share a few words, but also I do just want to mention too, there once upon a time was another director of animal welfare. Our COO, Lawrence Rail, ran the shop for a little bit. So he likes to take credit for all of Danny's work. And so, but we do appreciate his interim leadership for sure. And Danny, tell us about what else is happening in the department.
All right, thank you so much, man. So I think first and foremost, I have to thank Mayor Keller. I think the level of trust, Mayor, and support that you've given this department has been the catalyst to all of this change. And I can't thank you enough. I know as a mayor that you truly care about the pet health of our community. And so on that note, I can't even express how proud I am of the accomplishments that this team has had behind me. And as the mayor mentioned, our numbers are all trending in the right direction. But what I am most proud of is the culture that's taken hold here at the shelter. And it's really been that culture change that is the foundation for the energy and the new ideas and the innovation that's coming out of this department right now. And when I first came to this department, the management team and I sat down and we took the approach that if we take care of our employees, the numbers will take care of themselves. And I think what's happened here in this last year is a perfect example of that theory coming to fruition. There is one area, though, that I want to give special mention to, and that is our field services division. Our animal welfare officers, as the mayor talked about the accomplishments that we've had there. This division, from where I sit, has had the most dramatic change. And from where I sit, they've closed the widest gap. I think the culture in the field division, the change has just been huge, and our numbers reflect that, and it's nothing short of amazing. And, credit where credit is due, this change that we've had in the field is a direct reflection of the leadership style, the management, and the empowerment of Mr. Adam RICCI that we brought to this department, who's brought so many new tools and ideas. And so before calling Adam up, I would like to end on this thought. Everyone standing behind me, and I can speak with confidence knowing that I speak for them as well. We're proud of what we've accomplished, but by no means are we considering this the end. This is definitely just the beginning for us. Thank you.
First, thank you, Mayor Keller. Thank you, Danny, for the opportunity to be part of this department. But really the biggest thing since day one, my objective was to look at the field services department and figure out what we can do to take care of the backlog, take care of vacancies, take care of the employees. And I really have to put the thanks to their leadership team with Captain Lamandola, Lieutenants Romero and McKay, when we first sat down to discuss what was going on and some of the ideas that we can do to improve public safety in the community, and at the same time to continue to help pets and to further help pets that are also in the shelter. They were ready to tackle this project. They did it with as much zest as I could have ever hoped for. And so really today, all the accomplishments that happened in the field, it's really been on the backs of those three individuals and all of the corporals and the officers that are part of that team that are really pushing this division forward. And I want to thank everyone that's part of AWD. As Danny said, this is just the beginning, and there's so much more work that we have to do, and I am very excited to be part of this team. It is truly the best team I've ever been part of in my travels across this country, and I'm so thankful to be here.
All right.
Well, let me, I think maybe just wrap things up by echoing that also. Chief, I'm glad we stole you from Tucson, I think. So, part of our recruiting efforts, we're trying to get some folks too. We want to promote from within. I want to remind everyone we're very committed to that. Danny's a good example of that, but very important. But we also want to mix in some talent from outside. And so, at least in terms of animal welfare and the new leadership that we brought in, it's really an example of both of those. But I want to end with, there's vets behind me, there's volunteer coordinators behind me, there's the folks who do all this work each and every day. And so let me just close by, again, thanking you for sticking with this department and giving us a chance to turn it around, and for all the work you do for our city each and every day. Thank you so much.